I'm a thief. Yeah.
Jesse James would take from the rich and give to the poor. And legend has it that whenever Jesse James would rob a train, which had passengers on it, by the way, he would walk through and he would shake hands with the people on the train. And if he shook hands with someone who had calluses on their hands and dirt on their hands, he knew that was a working man, so story goes, he wouldn't rob that person. But if they had soft, smooth palms, he knew they were a rich man and he would take their money. And I remember hearing those kind of stories when I was growing up. And now, when I look at what Donald Trump's out here doing, constantly begging poor people for money and taking from the poor and giving to the rich, I say to myself, man, if you could go back in time all those years ago and you could find someone like a Jesse James, who, by the way, just got done fighting for the Confederacy, and you could say to him, hey, you know what? Years from now, there's going to be this businessman from New York, and he is going to strike a nerve in poor people, and they are going to feel compelled to give him money. They're going to give him their money. He's going to get in all sorts of trouble, and they're going to pay his legal bills. I have a feeling if you show Jesse James or Robin Hood this clip, it'd blow their mind. Roll it.
I am very humbly asking if you could chip in $5, $10, or even $25. I know that times could be tough, and they are tough.
So yeah, to all you Southern boys out there, that's just Jesse James in reverse. That is a rich man taken from the poor and given to the wealthy. And I never thought I would live to see the day where people in my part of the world would fall for this kind of thing. I mean, the arguments I hear for this guy all the time is, oh, he loves his country. He don't have to be doing this, man. He's a rich guy. He's got plenty of money. And he don't have to be doing this. He don't have to be running for president, but he loves this country so much he wants to save us from the brink of destruction, or whatever horse shit they tell us. Well, if it's really the case and he really does love this country, why does he need your money? Why has he been grifting this entire time? I could see it maybe if all he did was spend his own money and lose all of his own money and lose everything. And maybe if Donald Trump lost everything and came down and lived on our level for a while, then I might look over at him in a different light. But when I see this guy who has all this money and says, oh, I've got it covered, I can cover it all, and then he's turning around asking poor people for money, I just have a problem with that. And maybe I have a problem with it because I spent most of my life living paycheck to paycheck, and I spent most of my life traveling around my part of the world as a broke musician. I literally was the epitome of a starving artist. I drove around in an old beat-up Ford Econoline van, and we went from dive bar to dive bar, barely scraping by. And I did that for years. This is a picture of me years ago playing at a place here in East Tennessee. And that's what most Americans are going through in this country. That's how they live. I mean, most people in my part of the world, if their washing machine tears up, they're screwed. And a lot of people will end up having a string of bad luck. I can't count the times it's happened to me where my washing machine tears up, the hot water heater goes out, and the lawnmower shits the bed. And when it happens, you're sitting there digging yourself out of a hole for weeks to come. And meanwhile, you've got a guy asking you to buy his shitty sneakers. You've got a guy asking you to buy trading cards. Even if I was obsessed with Donald Trump, I couldn't have afforded to ever bought the shit. And I do not understand how a guy like this, who, by the way, washes his hands in this sink. I mean, yeah, this is in Mar-a-Lago. That is a golden sink. My question is, how many of you here in Appalachia has that sink in your trailer? I'm just curious, because I don't. I don't have one like that, and I don't understand why that's appealing to you. Is that chandelier hanging in your trailer? Because it's not in mine. It wouldn't even fit through my front door. But you're sitting back rooting on a guy who lives that kind of lifestyle, and you're sending him your money. And it's absolutely ridiculous. He's begging poor people for money.